I'm Harry Booker, I'm Head of Strength and Conditioning at Yorkshire County Cricket Club.
So Harry, we're the third week into pre-season now. How are we finding it so far?
It's been brilliant. We actually had a little pre-season actually whereby the lads came back and we had a proper run around the gym, painted the walls, tried to increase a bit of accountability for their own kind of working space. So we had that in the week before coming back, and in the 3 weeks that they've actually put some work in. It's been absolutely fantastic. Every challenge, every screening and monitoring process that we put in front of them, they've thrown themselves into. So yeah, it's been a great start.
A few people might have seen on our social media channels some probably traditional pre-season stuff, but then some let's say less traditional methods as well. How's it been? How have the lads found that?
Yeah, so the remit from the gaffer really was to make sure that they woke up every morning looking forward to come in and having a schedule and a week ahead of them that they really looked forward to. So yeah, as you said, there was plenty of traditional strength and power work and some dreaded screening and monitoring processes, but we tried to make sure that at the end of every week we've had the option to do something which takes them out of their comfort zone, whether that be trying different sports, different activities, learning from other coaches and athletes, and then obviously having a good go at it themselves. And hopefully there's a bit of a kind of heart and lung aspect to it as well, so they get a proper kind of workout as well. So far we've done mixed martial arts, we've done Ninja Warrior. Tomorrow we're going up to Harrogate to do paddle, which I've never done myself. Paddle tennis might be called. So yeah, lots of different activities. We've got loads more to come, and it's been brilliant.
You touched on it a little bit there. How important is the fun activities, the pre-season stuff, to build like team morale and to get all the lads together?
Yeah, huge. I mean, in season the pressures it is a pressure cooker. So they need a bit of a release, of course, but doing it in each other's company is vital. They're not robots, we recognise that. So they've got to enjoy what they're doing, enjoy coming to Yorkshire. So yeah, it's been brilliant. And then looking further to get the staff involved as well and get them pushing themselves to similar limits as the players, it can only increase kind of the morale across the group. So we tried to make an effort to make sure that we've thrown ourselves into some dreadful spin classes too. So yeah, that's huge, really important.
For a recreational cricketer who probably won't pick up a bat until January time, what would a pre-season look like in terms of what the lads go through on a day-to-day basis?
So we have the luxury of trying to make it as individual as possible for our players. So we do have a template, of course, whereby we expect them to get several gym sessions in a week, in a typical week. So for strength and power development, the lads will be on 3 sessions a week at the moment, give or take 1 session's north or south of that default. We have plenty of off-feet conditioning options. We've mentioned a couple of the extracurricular activities, if you want to call it that, but we also do some gym-based off-feet conditioning too. On-feet conditioning, we do plenty of extensive runs at this time of the year, so we get the chance to get a bit more volume into their legs than we would in a typical season because of the hectic schedule. And we try and actually get them exposed to sprinting at this time of year as well for hamstring conditioning. And then on top of that, I would say one thing that we've tried to do this year, which potentially isn't the most popular approach across the board, is get them bowling early doors before Christmas as well. So we looked at and reviewed injury incidents last year and figured that with a couple of load related injuries we could potentially raise their floor and raise their baseline and get them bowling earlier this year, albeit indoors and potentially not at maximum intensity. But that was a key aspect to our pre-season this year, to get them going through, even if it's once or twice a week, their bowling action as early as the first week of November.
With the scheduling as so hectic as it is in the modern era of cricket, how important is it for the lads to have the support that they get here with all the staff and what they go through to get the lads ready for the season?
Yeah, massively important. We were all pretty new as of the start of last season, so we had a period where we were all trying to figure out how everyone was going to work with each other, but at the core and at the centre of that was obviously the player and the athlete. So building those relationships was key with those guys initially. But yeah, you spend so much time on the road that for them to know that they've got someone on the end of a phone call if they aren't part of the travelling party, or if they are, they can very much just grab you at the hotel and have a chat, is huge. But I think it's particularly those that travel with the guys and see them in formal and informal settings, to build that relationship with them early doors has been critical. And then it's brought me certainly the opportunity to now ask more of them when it comes to an off-season programme where I'm asking a lot of them. And I like to think that we've got a relationship in place amongst the sports science and medicine department, where when we ask them to to dig in, they will for us, as they know we will for them. So we've got an ever-growing department, from nutrition, psychology, S&C, performance analysis. It's always getting bigger, so to keep checking in and keep the comms really tight between us is vital.
With the season getting ever closer, and obviously Christmas just around the corner, will in the new year the intensity ramp up for the lads?
Yeah, so we're actually looking to try and increase it before Christmas as it goes, but we're very much in an accumulation phase at the moment, heavily weighted towards volume, whether that be, as I said, the running based tasks or in the gym, and then we'll look to intensify that going forwards. But certainly after Christmas, obviously we've got to contend with the fact they're getting closer to that first game, so their cricketing skills will be ramping up, so we've got to cater for the fact that in these settings we might need to strip back the volume a little bit, and by nature of that the intensity will go up, and there'll be more asked of them holistically, from cricketing skills, physical prep, making sure their nutrition's on point, making sure they're checking in with physio on their physio markers and screening markers, that they're in a good place to start the season. So the intensity ramps up from all aspects, to be honest with you. There's going to be a lot more asked of them at that time of year. So yeah, 100%.
And with cricket being a all year round game now, with lads playing in franchise cricket all over the world, how hard is it for you to kind of keep track of the lads when they go abroad, or are they pretty good at being self-aware and knowing that they need to keep their fitness levels high?
So yeah, coming into this role, one of my remits early doors was to make sure that we were building self-reliant, self-sufficient athletes, because of the amount of time they spend on their own. So they don't need me holding their hand through a particular gym session. So yes, it's crucial, but it's easy enough. They're on the end of a call. I'm always on the end of a WhatsApp call, and I think it's really important to touch base with them as often as possible. So we've got several lads abroad at the moment, and it might be a very brief message exchange, or it might be one that's quite detailed, but I like to think that we've got our guys certainly in a place where they can look after themselves, but if there's something that they're struggling with, then they've got several people back here that they can call upon. In most instances too, we'll check in with who they might have at their disposal in those countries that they're in, so we'll link up with those coaches and members of staff to make sure that they've got a point of contact at least on the same time zone as them as well. So yeah, it's easily done, yeah.